So I see it's 9 o'clock now. We're going to call the Special Assessment Commission hearing to order. Just to do some quick introductions. Seems kind of loud. I'm Randy Engelstad. I'm the chair of the commission this year. Going that way, we have
Steve Bladholm.
Steve Bladholm. Sorry, it's my first time chairing this thing. And then we have Dan Eberhardt, Doug Durgan, and Linda Stewart. And those three are the special assessment employees for the city of Fargo. And then we have Dan Dunn next to me and Tom Knockmoose from the city of Fargo Engineering Department here as well. So that kind of introduces us. I see there's a couple people in the audience. I don't know, Tom, did you have anything to discuss for funding or anything this year? Okay. So I think we can go right to any citizen discussion. If you guys want to go. Oh boy. So FL Watkins was the first one to sign up for the hearing. If we have a microphone set up over there, if you want to go to the microphone and we can discuss the project you would like to talk about. Just state your name and your address when you get up to the microphone.
Okay, this sounds right. My name is Lee Watkins. I should be Frank Watkins, but I've used Lee Watkins for the last 80 years, so we'll take it from there. I own the property on the corner of 8th Street and Main Avenue. And of course, after yesterday's incursion of people breaking into the windows of 806, I've got something else to worry about. And we do have everything sealed off, so we're in good shape there. It just seems that there are about a million things that are happening to me all at the same time, and I'm saying, how does this work? So I just have some other things that are putting as much emphasis as is the assessments. And maybe you should ask me what, besides the break-in problems, I have a very interesting situation in that the 806 building has an assessed value of $36,000, I think it is, and 810, which is the parking lot, is $13,000. And of course, the income from the parking lot is not very much, so the assessment seems very, very high. And I guess I'll stop right there.
So if you look on the big screen, then I think Doug's trying to pull up your property. Is that the highlighted one that's on there? If you can see on the big screens or not?
Whoa. You said,
Your property in
Yes. Yeah, that whole chart there. Mexican Village is one that's free.
So this project is for the reconstruction of Main Avenue through that stretch. And so the assessment that you received, in your opinion, you think is too high for what the property value is? Is that what you're, don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm just trying to get to is that what I?
Well, everything that isn't in pink is part of the assessment. I think it cuts off.
Oh, could you go back to the microphone too, so we can keep you on the record too? Had you reached out to anybody on the city staff about this before, or is this the first time you brought it up?
It's the first time I brought it
Okay.
up, yes.
So,
Is that what that is? The $2,000?
Yes.
Okay, does that sound correct to you, sir, that you're being assessed $2,000 for the work that was completed, that you are assessed on a front footage basis?
That goes back to 2018, that I have an assessment of $2,000.
Oh, yeah.
And that's on 11 South 8th Street. It's the old Dakota Business College, now the art gallery, which is doing very well, by the way.
Sir, your assessment is based on Main Avenue as an arterial, and every property in the city of Fargo is affected by one north-south, one east-west arterial. Main Avenue would be your east-west arterial. For that amount of assessment, it's not a direct charge for Main Avenue, it's an indirect benefit based on an arterial band.
Okay,
Maybe I can just jump in. Lee, I think you have multiple parcels near that corner, correct?
right.
And so your concern maybe isn't just one of the singular parcels that I think Doug pulled up. It's some of the other parcels as well, correct? Because you also have 806, and then you have the parcel right at the southwest corner of that intersection as well, correct?
Right.
Oh, there.
So all four of those parcels are Lee's.
Yes, that is correct.
And
It's
so
a
Dan,
little peculiar because the parcel that is right on the corner, there are, I think, 3 assessments. I just went through with the assessor's office yesterday and they called back. There's something called number 9 and what the city has and what the county has is here. And she says she's got it rectified now so that everybody's on the same page. But I don't know exactly how number 1, which is computed out. Because I have 1, 1.5, 3, 5.5, 5, and 7, and the 9 that is listed on your materials does not exist and has not existed. Number 1 originally was 911, and there is a 911 South 8th Street, which is the old Haggard House. And there was always a conflict with who got the mail, whether we got 911 or 911. And they asked if we would please change our address to one or the other. And where the 9 came in, I suspect the original design, 1884, was 2 shops right down the middle. So if you cut across where that black line is and move it down so it divides it into 2 equal spaces horizontally east to west, It probably was called 9 and 11. And there's something about being 82 that means I've been around there a long time. But it did not come up as a, well, when the post office asked us, they said, well, do you want to go 9 or 11? And my parents turned to me and they said, well, which one would you want? And I picked 11, purely arbitrary. But I don't know what that has to do with the discussion we're having now.
For your parcels, Lee, what we're seeing is, on the one with the multiple units in it, we look at that as one parcel in its entirety. We don't separate out into the 1, the 3, the 5. We see that as one parcel with a front footing on Main Avenue.
Okay.
And an indirect on A Street.
Right.
And the other 2 parcels that are to the west of that parcel would be direct fronting on Main Avenue, and number 11 would be an indirect parcel on,
Okay.
off of Main Avenue. So it'd be part of the arterial portion of it.
Yes. I think you're onto it, Doug, right now.
When does the 11 go into effect? I know that it can be, because your information that, you can put it into your taxes, or you can, there were, I think, 3 different ways of handling the finances.
The finances, you can do nothing. It'll be approved by the city commission, I believe, on September 20th.
Okay,
And if you choose not to pay it off at that time, it will be a portion, 1/25th will be added to your property taxes per parcel. You could pay it off at any time.
Yeah.
After the commission approves it, you have a 10-day payoff period before interest starts to accrue.
right,
And the third way of payment is you can buy it down at any time,
right.
and they'll prorate the interest.
Yes, I do understand that.
Okay.
So did you want us to go back and look at the amount and just double check to make sure it's following our policy? Or just trying to get to
It just
the
seemed-
actual protest?
It just seems very strange to me that a parking lot would have an assessed value increased by as much as it is.
Okay,
And it could very well be that I don't charge enough money for my parking lot to make it considerable.
And Dan, could you maybe just talk about how, when a special assessment is spread and how you look at benefit, you don't necessarily look at what's on the parcel, right? You are
Correct.
looking at a blank parcel essentially, correct?
Correct. As Doug had up on the screen, when we assess a portion or any type of assessment, we look at a grid with fronts and with your front footage and your square footage.
Right,
It's not based on what's on the
Function.
parcel, it's based on the benefit to the parcel. And we have a infrastructure policy that dictates what we charge on a front foot or a square foot basis for that parcel. So it doesn't mean it's a parking lot. We look at the zoning. In this case, I'm assuming it'd be either DMU or commercial. So we go back to our infrastructure policy, and that's how we come up with the cost per foot for those parcels.
okay.
Is there something you would like us to look as city staff and as the Special Assessment Commission? Is there something you would like us to look at in particular?
Well, I don't think there's anything you're going to do, so in terms of reducing the assessment. So, you have to take it the way it comes.
The next step would be, like Dan said, the commission meeting on the 20th, right? There's
Correct.
still a chance if you wanted to put on they can still comment on the commission meeting, right?
Yes, what we'll do is we'll take we call it a protest. He will receive a letter from the auditor's office stating that he's listed as a protester, and it'll give him the instructions to proceed to go onto the city commission.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
all right.
Unless you got taken away.
PR20E.
All right, so the next project was that we're going to discuss is a mill and overlay project, PR20E. I think we had somebody that would like to come up and talk about it. If you just introduce yourself when you get to the microphone.
I am Don LaRue, and I'm a resident of the Lincoln Park condos on South 28th Street. And my inquiry just has to do with understanding how the charges are made relative to the number of units within the building, as well as wondering really a better idea of what length of street or whatever, who all is being affected or being charged for this particular improvement.
Sure.
We have 30 units, and has it been divided just equally within those 30 units?
Typically, when we have a large condo complex, we take the total front footage of all the streets that condo would be adjacent to, and we divide it by the number of units. That's usually on the request of the original developer and builder, and that's I believe the way this one has been set up.
So it's not based upon the square footage of each unit,
No,
and that's from the original setup with the original building.
correct.
Okay. So to answer the other question, what length of the street or whatever else is being billed for this?
We use a 35-foot offset, and we measure the straight line on all the streets that this property would abut, or we measure the arc.
So it doesn't go the full length of 28th Street, for instance, because that stopped, 2/3 of the way down from 32nd?
We would, again, use a 35-foot offset and measure that distance from 28th Street in that particular one, but also, what avenue is that, Doug? 34th Avenue, and then Dakota Park Circle would also be part of that total computation. Not just 28th Street, but 34th Avenue. We use that footage.
Do you have a pointer you can?
Footages?
I'll go through them here once. If you can you see the pointer there?
Yes.
So it'd be 35-foot offset from the roadway. So we'd come this way 35 feet. And then so we'd start the measurement here, and it would be this distance here. That would be one side. Then it would be the same thing here. It'd be a 35-foot offset to here approximately, and it'd be this distance here. Okay. And then the third and final component would be a 35-foot offset here which where my pointer is now would start this distance here. So the total of those three would be equally divided amongst your units.
Okay. And then my other question, coming down on 28th Street, how many properties are being charged for this or assessed for this beyond just our unit, our building?
All the properties within this blue polygon, which is the district boundary. So all these here on the west side, and then these encompassing on the east side would be ones that were included.
Just again, it's starting up at our building, coming down, how far on the left-hand side?
Right, to this boundary here. This blue, if you can, sorry, my pointer's kind of small on here, but if you can see this, the large blue boundary is this assessment district boundary. So it would come down here to 35.5 Court Avenue South.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming up. It's 9:21. I don't know if we should wait a few more minutes to see if somebody else comes in, or if we should adjourn the meeting. Normally they last a little longer, or at least the last one was that, it lasted a little longer than this one, so I'm not sure if we have to wait a certain amount of time before we can call it.
I think you can adjourn.
Okay. Unless there's anybody else that has anything to discuss, I think we can adjourn the meeting.